So the first round of GOP debates have come and gone, and as I've been talking about, there are no winners. And that's not because people didn't do well. It's because when you've got 17 people all gasping for airtime, well, you don't really get a winner. But you can get losers. We have people who did well. Carly Fiorina, she did well. I think she presented herself in a way that was very cool, calm, and collected while hitting points. Also, Bobby Jindal. Now, I know sometimes Bobby Jindal leads to a little bit of controversy for people, but his talk about immigration is going to set the progressive left on fire, especially when he talks about immigration without assimilation is an invasion. That line is going to be talked about on Mother Jones and other places forever. The problem is he's right, and I thought he handled the hyphenized American conversation very well. I've had that conversation many times. You can't be this kind of American or that kind of American. You have to be an American and get into American values, and he also talked about learning English. Gonna drive them crazy. Also doing very well when we move to the big debate, Marco Rubio. Some people said that he looked nervous. I thought he looked incredibly, incredibly calm. And when the question came, he had an answer. He always had an answer, and the answer was complete. It wasn't little pieces here and there. That's one of the reasons I think Rick Perry did poorly. It's not that he doesn't know how to be an effective leader and an effective executive. It's that when he's searching to give the answer, you can kind of see him weave his way through all the thoughts in his head. He doesn't have a straight path to an answer, and I think that's a serious, serious problem. Also not doing well in these debates, John Kasich. He's the governor of Ohio, and he had the home field advantage, but I don't think he added anything that made you say, this is a guy I want to be around. So you have Carly Fiorina, who I thought did well, Bobby Jindal, who I thought did well, Marco Rubio, who I thought did well. Also doing well, Ted Cruz. At times I thought he came off a touch angry, but I thought that a guy who was that direct and open, especially talking about ISIS, I mean, these people are signing their death warrant if they attack the United States. That talk works for a guy like me, I think works for that middle-of-the-road crowd as well. And also Ben Carson. A lot of people thought Ben Carson was out of his league. I thought Ben Carson looked rather easygoing in this debate, and part of that's because he was surrounded by Chris Christie and Rand Paul and Donald Trump. When you're surrounded by those loud voices, you sound like a voice of reason. Unfortunately, no one asked him about his position on guns. When that conversation comes, Ben Carson's got massive problems. So nobody won this debate, although I think some people did well in this debate. Jeb Bush, he did not do well in this debate. Don't tell me about the $100 million he raised. I get that point. He did not do well. But who lost? There were three big losers in this debate. And those big losers? Chris Wallace, Bret Baier, and Megyn Kelly. I thought these three moderators, who do fine on their shows on Fox, were terrible in this debate, mainly because they allowed themselves to utilize progressive left canards and conversations and mainstream media talking points as their questions. Very gotcha-esque. If Megyn Kelly is going to ask Donald Trump about his temperament, that's fine. If Megyn Kelly is going to ask him about how this is going to be used against him regarding the war on women, that's wrong. If Bret Baier is really going to ask the question, how many people pledge here tonight not to run third party? That question is obscene. You've got a nuclear Iran, you've got a border to deal with, you've got a labor participation rate that is at its lowest point ever. How about Legionnaire disease in New York? But you want to know whether or not we're going to pledge third party or not? That's a maddening, nonsensical question that doesn't come from anybody of a thinking metal. I said it and I meant it. That is from the progressive left. Not something you expect from a Fox moderator, and certainly not something that is worthwhile in the GOP debate. The three of them did poorly in providing us questions that really needed answers. I hope they do better next time. That's my debate wrap-up. What's yours?